Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here. Oh, got a little bit of a headache right now. The internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review. Tame Impala Lonerism. These guys are an Australian psychedelic rock and pop band, excuse me, and they put out their full-length debut Innerspeaker a few years ago, which I thought was okay. To me, neo-psychedelia bands can usually be placed into two categories. You have your animal collectives, which bring on an entirely new brand of psychedelic sounds that feel nothing like the old world of psychedelic music. And then again, you kind of have your spiritualizeds, which do, sound new, do have a fresh sound, but are more obviously rooted in that older world of psychedelic music. They have a bit of a revivalist edge to their act. And I would definitely say Tame Impala is a member of the latter. A lot of the bass lines, the guitar leads, the melodies, and especially the vocals that these guys work with evoke a Beatles Revolver era type sound that, to me, on their debut LP was so distracting it was hard for me to really fall in love with the album despite some good songwriting and great production. On this LP you're going to hear very bright, lush digital synth timbres, echoes being soaked on the vocals, the guitars, and the synths too, that just kind of echo into oblivion and pigpile on top of one another into this just auditory casserole. Rainbow colors, rippling water, candy binges with no stomach aches or cavities. And the colors are just so Oh yeah, and one other thing that I remember kind of praising the band on through their last LP, a masterful array of guitar tones. This band definitely knows, understands, and appreciates sound. There's just no doubt about that. And for sure, if you give this a listen, it will be one of the most colorful and textured neo-psychedelia records you've heard this year. And the fact that this album is so sound dense may distract from the pretty good songwriting from time to time on this LP, may take away from the distinction of these tracks at first. However, some songs stick out more than others. The track Elephant, for sure, which has this really thick, rock-steady riff matched up against Tame Impala's usual sounds, and to me it kind of sounds like, I don't know, John Lennon and Paul McCartney collaborating with Tony Iommi. The sour synthesizers kick in after the first chorus of the song, and that really brings the track into a full-on jam, and I love it. The track Keep On Lying has these pulsating synth chords that kind of bring the track a quality that makes it feel like it's sun-baked. The pace of the track is perfect. I love the messy guitar solos that come in as the song just kind of lets loose, gets a little more wild. And I love the sonic experimentation that they do with voices on the track too as it progresses. Some voices are just kind of laid with heavy echoes, whether they're talking or laughing. It gets pretty cacophonous, and though it doesn't sound interesting on paper, it totally feels like a vintage old school psych pop and rock experiment that goes over really well in practice. The track Like We Only Go Backwards has a really blissful vocal melody and drum fills. It's just the track is just constantly just crashing down on this just heavenly, long-spun musical phrase, kind of jamming it out. It feels like a hook, but it's not quite a hook. There's a bridge in the song too that's pretty pleasant. It's during moments like this, I wish the vocals were a little bit more front and center, not so obscured by being mixed low. And the track Why Won't They Talk to Me, with how kind of straight and rigid and driving the rhythm is behind that track, it actually kind of feels like Tame Impala sort of referencing the Strokes in a way. The vocal melody certainly feels like maybe a slight play on the track Soma, or maybe I'm just crazy. There are just a lot of sweet, catchy tracks on this LP, consistently laid out with landscapes of psychedelic synths and guitar, as well as Beatles-esque vocal harmonies. Now, I don't really hate anything on this LP. There were several tracks that kind of underwhelmed me, or I wish went other places, like the intro track, which I think is a great idea. I love the loop drums and vocal sample on there, and the rushes of synthesizers on that track are just kind of invigorating. The vocal melody is catchy too, but to me it doesn't really so much feel like a song as it just does one really good idea repeated into oblivion. The track Mind Mischief was kind of repetitive too, with this one single guitar riff that the band doesn't really deviate from. That was a good catchy riff at the start, but doesn't really maintain my interest for the duration of the entire track. And I kind of wish the second track went on longer, especially since the guitar jam leading up to the climax that finishes the song off went over so well, but the track kind of explodes and then it's just done. I see nothing but improvement for Tame Impala on this record, to be completely honest. I mean, the jams that they put on this LP are more expansive. There are bolder sonic experiments. The band brings a wider array of sounds. They're a little bit more adventurous with what they do with their obvious influences. And the songwriting is still good, just like it was on the last LP. Overall, I am feeling a light to decent 8 on this album. What did you think of it if you've given it a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Tame Impala. Oh, and what does Culture Chester think?
If Tame Impala is so lonely, why doesn't he get some new friends?
Culture Chester.
Beep 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 beep. It's Nat. It's Nat plugged in.
Lonerism forever.